What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Brian here. This might be a lengthy video, but this is basically going to be kind of like an ultimate how to survive and what to expect at Forbidden Kingdom this year. We're just a few short days away from the event. Stage building and everything has already begun at the venue. It's real, it's happening. People are already flying in, artists are flying in, they're getting here tomorrow. Things are getting serious really fast. So I wanna make sure you guys have a great time there. And as someone who's been to many music festivals and has been to each Forbidden Kingdom that's happened already, and as someone that is also familiar with this new venue, I wanna give you guys a little bit of insight, some things that you might have to be aware of, things to expect, what to look out for. I'm gonna break this down into a few different segments, and I'm probably gonna timestamp it all so that way you can just kind of click through to the stuff that you're really interested about. So that way, you don't waste your time just watching this entire thing if you don't really have the time to be doing that. I do wanna say that a lot of this advice is stuff that can be applied very last minute. So literally this is stuff that you don't need to prepare way in advance for. These are things to just know prior to arriving to the venue or when you're already at the venue, or maybe just on your way. The first thing is gonna be the weather. The first thing is the heat. So one of the biggest things is gonna be the Florida heat. This shit, it gets hot out here, man. And this weekend is gonna be, I think, the highest temps of the week. It's looking like it's gonna be mid to high 90s for FK weekend. I just saw, and I think it's day 2, which is gonna be the heavier day. It's gonna be a high of like 95 or 97 degrees. So yeah, definitely take care of yourselves. Hydrate, find shade, cool off. Make sure you're drinking a lot of water, probably more than you typically would. I would even suggest having some fruit if you can find a fruit vendor or smoothie vendor. Shout out Festival Finesser. What is it? Space Fruit, I think that's the vendor. If you mention Festival Finesser, it's $1 off. He's doing a meetup with them and a whole partnership, so trying to save you some money. Shout out Brian, Festival Finesser. Yeah, the humidity in Florida, that's really what's killer. So it's gonna be 95 degrees on day 2. With humidity, it's gonna feel like 105, dude. Like, it is gonna be hot, you're gonna be sweaty. Bring a handkerchief, bring a bandana, something to wipe off the sweat. Take the necessary breaks, pace yourself. The biggest thing is pace yourself. You do not want to pass out at this music festival in this heat. Next, we have the lines and entries. So this is like, once you arrive to the venue, what should you be looking out for, and some tips. Biggest thing to note, the venue opens at 1 o'clock. So that is when doors and the gates are open. You can go inside and already start enjoying the first sets of the weekend. Keep that in mind, that is earlier than a lot of other festivals. The festival ends at around 11-ish, 11:10, 11:15-ish. I know they extended the set time just a hair. I would say, get to the venue early, especially on day 1. Try and be there maybe an hour early, maybe 45 minutes early, just to make sure you're gonna get through in time to catch those earlier sets, or just to familiarize yourself with the venue. So I'm gonna try and be there about an hour early on day 1, get there at noon, and start enjoying the weekend. Get a head start because, it is only 2 days and those are gonna go by very, very quickly. And I think going there early before maybe any of the serious artists that you cannot miss start performing gives you a really good chance to explore the grounds and kind of like start already interacting with some of the activations they're gonna have at the festival. Parking will be $20 and I think it's only cash. So make sure that prior to you arriving, you have $20 in cash per car that you have. Once you park, make sure you hide all your valuables. You don't want to leave, your bag, backpacks, anything just sitting there in plain sight, because there's always a chance there's going to be people, we're going to be lurking, trying to break into cars. You don't want to lose things, so just hide it all in your trunk, put your jackets or something over it, just make sure it's not easily seen. Another thing, once you do park, take a picture of where you parked, so that way, once you're leaving the grounds, it's going to be dark and it might be hard to actually find your car, but if you can at least have a photo of like, oh, I parked in the same row as this light post with the raggedy ass light bulb, I don't know, something like that could help you just get in and out of the venue quicker and straight to the after party sooner. Make sure you double check the allowed and prohibited items list. Make sure that all the things you are planning on bringing are allowed inside the venue. If it's not listed on either of those, just assume that it's gonna be prohibited and be okay with losing that or having to throw it away once you get to the gates. Make sure you refer to the Forbidden Kingdom website. They have a whole list of what's allowed and what's not. Also, double check your totems. Make sure that they fall within the guidelines. I mean, it's pretty standard guidelines for a festival anyways. It would really suck for you to bring your totem and it's really funny and then all of a sudden you have to leave it at the front gates and you can't bring it into the venue. That would really suck. Make sure before you go in, you have your IDs on you, a valid form of ID, so your driver's license, just ID card, A passport is another good backup. If you were one of the many who lost their IDs at SMF 2 weekends ago, last weekend, make sure that you at least already have some renewal papers in hand, maybe an old ID along with it. Another one, I think this should work. I really wouldn't see why it wouldn't, especially here in Florida, because you can buy alcohol with it. A medical marijuana card, if you have one, bring that too. If you don't have your normal ID, just in case, because that has everything that is essential anyways, has a photo, your name, and your date of birth. So bring that as well if you don't have your normal ID on you. One last thing to note about the venue, no re-entry. So make sure you don't forget anything in the car before you get in, because once you're in, you're in. And once you're out, you're out. So keep that in mind. Just make sure you have everything before you go inside the venue. Things to note about the venue, there's gonna be water refill stations, so you can bring your hydration pack and refill it for free. Whether or not they're gonna be good or not, we really don't know, but from what I've heard, they're actually good water refill stations. So there also will be lockers available. If you're someone that maybe is bringing some flow toys, or you don't wanna carry things all the time, they're gonna have lockers for $20 a day. And I think they're pretty decent size, so you might be able to fit a backpack in there. I'm definitely considering it for day one, just because I'm probably gonna buy some merch and I don't wanna hold on to the merch the entirety of the day. So I might just buy a locker, shove it in there. This is actually really cool. All the lockers come with universal chargers, so you can charge your phone, leave it in there while you get some lunch, meet up with your friends for a little bit, take a break, your phone's charging, and you're ready to go for the rest of the night. If you, for whatever reason, hurt yourself, there is ADA accessibility. So I'm pretty sure they're gonna have some kind of ADA viewing available, ADA bathrooms. Just keep that in mind, and there is like an ADA check-in, I'm pretty sure, if I look at the map again. And that kind of helps, because I know there's plenty of people who hurt themselves with a festival or just short, something happened. Life happens, just good to know that if you hurt yourself, you still can enjoy the event. Some other things, location. The venue itself, it's the Central Florida Fairgrounds with the Orlando Amphitheater. It's about 20 to 25 minutes, maybe 30 with some traffic, from Orlando International Airport. And then it's about 15 minutes from the Vanguard, which is gonna be the venue where they're doing the official pre and after parties for Forbidden Kingdom. Another thing, from what I've heard, they're installing cell towers and signal boosters for this event, just like they did for Sunset Music Festival. So you should be having better than usual reception for a festival. Now, this is a big one, and I've seen a ton of people on the Facebook groups and different areas talking about leaving the venue on foot. So maybe walking back to their Airbnb or their hotel, walking all the way downtown from the venue. I highly advise against that, and anyone from Orlando will probably do the exact same thing. I've seen so many posts of people just saying, hey, can I walk from the venue to so-and-so place? Do not. The area surrounding the venue is arguably one of the most sketchy and dangerous areas in all of Orlando. It's like notoriously known for just being sketchy. Yeah. So if you don't have a ride, if you can't afford an Uber, if you're too, drunk, too high, whatever, try and find a ride situation prior to the event or at the event. Use your best judgment. Go with your gut on how you trust people, because I'm sure there are many people who are more than willing to offer you a ride in their car, squeezed in there. You might have to lap up or something to get you a ride downtown or to the after party. If not, join the Facebook groups, the Forbidden Kingdom official ones, or even the EDC Orlando ones, anything that's like festival and Orlando related. People are always down to help, and you can kind of get a good idea of who might be trustworthy or not, especially through Facebook. Just, again, I can't stress this enough, do not leave the venue grounds and just walk around those streets neighboring. It's really sketchy. As sad as it is to say, there will be people who are gonna be trying to find ways to take advantage of these young festival goers, all right? Especially ladies, do not walk by yourself. I'd say if you do, for whatever reason, have to walk outside the venue, I would suggest at least be in a group of like 5 to 6 people minimum, and that might be okay. But anything less, I really would just be careful. Another thing too, leave early if possible. So leave a set, as much as it sucks to leave. And this is something a lot of people do, myself included. A lot of times I leave 15 to 20 minutes, sometimes even 30 minutes before the event ends, so I can get out of the venue with no problems. And already, even then, that's when traffic starts to build up, because people are thinking the same thing. It sucks to miss like the headlining and the closing artist, but sometimes if you really want to go see the after party, or you just want to get home and rest up for the next day and get out of there ASAP without getting stuck in line, having to pay an expensive Uber price, that's definitely going to be a great tip. Just leave early. Now we're getting into during the event. What are you going to be expecting, things to look out for, and some quick tips while you're inside the venue. Set times are released. By now, you probably already have a list and a kind of a schedule that you want to do. There is no official Forbidden Kingdom app, but if you download the Insomniac app, there is the Forbidden Kingdom section where you can actually already build your own schedule in an app and kind of have that saved there. I'll probably have a little display of me kind of scrolling through it, so that way you can get an idea. But the Insomniac official app will have set times and probably be the quickest way to see any last minute updates that may happen, any set time changes, artist changes, anything like that. Just never know. Good to have the app. Download it now and build your schedule. This one is a great one. This next tip is keep the festival notifications on social media, more specifically Twitter. Obviously at a music festival, there's gonna be a ton of people on their phones. These cell tower, all these lines are gonna get jammed and stuck up because everyone's trying to upload their Snapchats, Instagram stories. There's gonna be a lot of bandwidth being used. Twitter is a very low data cost platform because all you have to do is load up text. I would highly advise at least having Twitter notifications on in case there's any kind of advisories or last minute changes. At least you'll get a notification directly to your lock screen. You don't have to unlock it or anything, and you don't have to load it. So again, I recommend doing that. Just have it on. Doesn't really hurt to. I don't think the festival's gonna be tweeting all that much during the event. They're probably gonna be focusing more on Instagram stories anyways, so find some good meeting spots. That's why I always recommend getting to the venue early so that way you can walk around and figure out really good spots to meet up with your friends if you guys get lost. Set some times like, hey, we all wanna go see Murata at this time. Let's meet up at this spot 15 minutes prior, and then if whoever's not here before like 5 minutes before the set, well, we're gonna try and be on the left side of the stage, Just create little plans like that because it never hurts to. It's always good to at least have a couple emergency meetup spots if anyone gets lost. Cell phones will die, just have some kind of plan. Hopefully now that set times are out, you've at least made a plan of everybody you want to see, and I hope that you have at least some kind of idea of where you can squeeze in a break here and there. Obviously with a festival and a lineup like this, it's gonna be back to back to back to back to back. Just artists you want to see at all times, but at some point you have to eat, you have to take a break, especially from the heat. Try and get an idea ahead of time before you're at the event as to when you want to maybe take your break. Obviously things don't always go according to plan, but at least having some kind of rough framework is better than nothing. While you're on break, explore those food options, and I would really consider getting some kind of fresh fruit or smoothie option. Getting some of those natural sugars and natural hydration is gonna be a plus. I did that at Sunset this past weekend, and it was awesome having some super fresh pineapple in my system, some juicy watermelons, apples, stuff like that. It just felt like extra nice. It gave me like an extra kick that I really needed. That was just different. Also, shop around a little bit. If you see some chicken tenders here, there might be another chicken tender vendor right across the field. Check them out. A lot of times you can save some money. I know I'm huge with trying to get the most for my money when it comes to the festival food because I'm already overpaying anyways. So at Sunset Music Festival last weekend, there was one vendor that was selling chicken tenders. I think you only got like 2 and then some fries. It was $17. I skirted the fuck out of that line. I got some hibachi instead, which, side note, hibachi usually always gets your money's worth. It's always gonna be a nice big portion. I always recommend it. That's usually my go-to for festivals. But back to the chicken tender story. I walked my happy ass across the field a few hours later when I did really want chicken tenders, and it was like $13 for the same thing, or for more food. I got 3 chicken tenders and a fat stack of fries under it, with barbecue sauce and everything else I wanted for $13. I just saved $4, which at a festival where you're overpaying already, that really adds up. That's $4 you save, and if you do that 2 times at a festival per day, that could easily be like $15 to $20. So also, while you're already shopping around, look at the vendors that they have. There's gonna be some cool vendors selling cool merchandise, rave wear, sunglasses, all the nines there. Some cool souvenirs. Support some local businesses. If you're someone who is looking to buy a souvenir at this festival, go for it. Look at it, support them, check out their social media. Also, another thing, this is not a cashless festival to my knowledge. I don't think it is. Maybe look out for some ATMs, see if they have any on site, just in case. If not, pull out some money beforehand. Have some cash on you. It does not hurt to have cash on you in case any kind of payment networks go down. You can just still transact as usual. And while you have some extra money, bring some extra money for merch, because more often than not, at least in my experience and what I see when we sell merch at festivals and stuff like that, is you walk in that merch booth, you just look. I always look, even if I'm like, I'm not gonna buy merch this fest. I did that for SMF. I'm like, I'm not buying merch at SMF, bro. I still wanna check out the merch booth though, and I see this midnight t-shirt, and I was like, all right, and I bought merch. Happens more often than not. Bring some extra money if you know the merch temptation is real. Constantly check your valuables. I always am just like, give myself a quick little pat, make sure I got my phone on me, my wallet on me, anything that's important. If you're wearing a hydration pack or a fanny pack, make sure you're checking that as well. You never know, some of these thieves are super slick. There will be thieves at Forbidden Kingdom. They're at every festival. There's dedicated rings that do this. They go to music festivals and steal. It sucks, but that's the reality. Hard to really prevent that. Especially at events like this where it's only 2 days, it's really affordable. It's prime for thieves to just come in because it's a low cost investment for them. Let me say investment in quotations because it's still messed up. Make sure you back up all your data, your photos, anything like that before you come to the event. You know, buy some extra cloud storage, upload it all in case of anything. Make sure you know your iCloud or any of your backup passwords too, in case someone does steal your phone or you do lose it. Also check out where Lost and Found is in case somebody is very nice to return phones. I know we do that at a lot of festivals where you just find a phone on the floor and we just take it lost and found. Last tip for while you're inside the venue is just know where the med tent is. And not necessarily even for yourself, but in case you see somebody else in distress, you can kind of gently escort them to the medical tent or point them in the right direction. Another cool little tip, and this is one I actually learned at that particular venue where Forbidden Kingdom is this year, is sometimes they just got free water. I remember one time we were like in line to get water and it was like $4 for a water bottle. And then this girl just came walking. She's like, hey, you can get like free water literally right there at the med tent. And we're like, what? They're like, yeah, just walk over there and ask for water. And I was like, okay. We walked over there. They had pallets full of water bottles, just handing them out. If you walk up there like, hey, I just want water. They're like, okay, cool. Hand you a free water bottle instead of having it's literally 30 feet away. So just know where the medical tent is. Never know when you might need it or when someone else near you might need it. Now we're getting into the after parties and the whole pre-party situation. By now, you've probably already secured your after party and pre-party tickets for the official events. All the official events are gonna be at the Vanguard in downtown Orlando. Very cool venue. That was my favorite venue prior to them kind of closing down for renovations for like 2 years. It's a very historic venue in Orlando. So I haven't been there since they've reopened, but I'm very excited to go and pop that cherry for Forbidden Kingdom. Let me preface this too with be careful with scams. There's tons of people getting scammed already on tickets. Only buy through someone you trust or someone who you can like find on Facebook and dig through their page. And even then, just be super careful. So the official pre-party is like a circus takeover with Dr. P and Funcase headlining, and I think Sweet Tooth as well. That's gonna be Thursday night for the pre-party. Day one official after party is Midnight Tyrannosaurus, Figure, Cod Dubs, back-to-back OG Nixon, YDG, Goon. And the day two after party at the Vanguard is gonna be Subtronics, Boogie T, Stellar, and Level Up, I believe. So, which that one I know is sold out by now. Excuse the hair, but I forgot to add this yesterday. They announced the sudden death after party after I filmed the video, so I'm just throwing this in there. Sudden death at Guilt is day two after party. And there's a ton of other events and little pop-up after parties and pre-parties that are unofficial but are happening. Orlando, when it comes to these big ass events, always just becomes like Orlando Music Week, where there's just gonna be something to do for everybody. You know, I know some people, you miss out on tickets to official pre-parties and after parties, but you're still looking for something to do. Hop on Facebook, join the event pages. They're promoting all these events. Hop on Radiate, the same deal. And go support some local talent at the end of the day. If you can't make it to the officials, doesn't matter. There's gonna be stuff happening all around you. You're definitely gonna hear about things while you're at the festival. Enjoy your time. All right, and this last segment is just some general tips and some quick advice. Just to gently remind you of some things pre-festival. I know some of us are very rusty when it comes to festival going. And I also know this is a lot of people's first music festival. So big one, and this one's obvious, is just make sure your devices are fully charged. Make sure your phone is like plugged in until right before you leave. Make sure you got a charger in the car, in the Uber. Also, if you have a battery pack, even better. I always have a battery pack on me for festivals, at least 10,000 milliamps, but better yet, 20. Which if you don't know what that is, that's basically just the amount of charge the device will hold. So the higher the milliamps, the more times you charge your phone while you're at the event. Here's a battery saving technique, which is airplane mode. If you're in the crowd and you're already with all your squad, you don't actively need to be texting or uploading Snapchats or anything, put your phone in airplane mode and then you can just use it just to record videos like I do. It's just save some battery. It keeps your phone temp down. It's like cutting off a lot of this background work that your phone's doing when it's on and connected and actively receiving data. So yeah, it's a quick tip, but it's super useful for saving battery life, especially when you're like Void's on next and we're still during this set and I need to make sure I have battery life for this, but I don't have a charger. Yeah, it's really important. Sunscreen, again, it's gonna be hot as shit and more than likely it's gonna be sunny as hell. So make sure you have like a little portable travel size sunscreen, or even just like there's like a deodorant version. I just discovered this. You can kind of just like deodorize yourself with, but it's not deodorant, it's sunscreen. It's awesome. Another thing is gonna be like Band-Aids for your ankles if you're someone who does blister easily. That's a big one. I know my girlfriend deals with that a lot when it comes to just going to festivals. Band-Aids or even baby powder. Baby powder is another one that I would advise. Make sure your shoes are, you know, not super sweaty or not super stinky, and even just put it in your groin areas and make sure you're not chafing, because that's another tip too. Just make sure you take any of the anti-chafing precautions necessary prior to the event, especially since it's gonna be hot, humid, you're gonna be sweaty. Yeah, so chafing is probably gonna be super high for the event. Electrolyte supplements, so things like Pedialyte or Liquid IV, these are lifesavers. They're really good for getting some extra hydration in your system. I would recommend maybe having one prior to you leaving and coming to the event, or to get that in your system. And I think it's gonna be extra vital at Forbidden Kingdom with all this heat. You're gonna be burning a lot of energy. You're gonna be going through a lot of water at Forbidden Kingdom this year. I would definitely advise at least having a couple Pedialyte packets on you, having some Liquid IV. It just helps with kind of like quenching that thirst and making sure you stay hydrated. If you're running low on energy or worried about running low on energy, obviously energy drinks are there. They're gonna have some at the festival. If you're more picky about your energy drinks, obviously maybe have one prior to the event. Another good one, and this one you should be able to get into the event, is a caffeine pill. I always have Vibrin when I go to like these huge events sometimes, as a backup in case I do feel myself just getting burnt out and it's still another like 6 or 7 hours I have to go. Another essential is earplugs. This is super important. We can't fix our hearing. Yeah, there's really no real ways to fix your hearing. So once you lose it, it's gone. And the biggest thing that should scare you is tinnitus. It's basically just a non-stop loud ringing in your ear that never goes away. And it's especially brutal when you're trying to sleep. I feel like if you go to music festivals, a lot of us probably already have some kind of slight form of tinnitus. I know I do. It can get worse, and it's something that's very serious because there's people who it just drives absolutely mad, and you know, unfortunately, people have taken their lives because of tinnitus, all because of hearing damage from loud events. Wear some earplugs. You can still order some. You can find even just cheap foam ones if you really need to. You can find those at like any pharmacy or even Walmart, Target. They all have them. You know, just some foam ones. Those are honestly, it's better than nothing. The whole point is protect your hearing. You're gonna be at a loud event. You can kind of get away with a little more at outdoor events like this, but it's still, if you're gonna be deep in the crowd, if you're trying to be on the rail, ear plugs it up. There's no way of predicting when you might have tinnitus or when you're gonna catch it. Please protect your ears. Also, back to the cash thing, make sure you have cash for downtown parking. If you're going to the after parties or anything downtown, because a lot of times you're gonna have to park on a parking lot or a parking garage rather than street parking. And I imagine for the weekend, they're gonna jack the prices up, especially knowing that thousands and thousands of people are gonna be migrating downtown after an event, and thousands of people are here because of an event. Those prices might be a little higher than usual, so I would estimate another $10 to $20 per night for parking downtown. Just bring money for parking, and just also shop around for parking lots, because, you know, look for key things like well lit, how close it is to the venue, you know, who's the person that's kind of monitoring this lot, you know, like things like that. You just want to make sure your car or wherever you're parking is safe. For festivals too, bring in a Cliff Bar or some kind of granola bar. A lot of times they'll let that stuff in, even though, you know, you're not supposed to bring in outside food or anything like that, but it's understandable, dude. It's a long haul. Not everybody has the money to be eating at the festival, and at least an energy bar or something like that will get you through it. I always have at least one on me, usually two though. So that way, if I'm deep in the crowd and I really can't afford to lose my spot, I can at least chow down on that, and it'll kind of like calm down the hunger or anything for a little bit. And this is actually one I don't think many people realize or even thought of, but even now, at the time of uploading this video, you still could pull it off. If there's anything you forgot that you need to order off Amazon, order it to an Amazon locker near where you're staying. There's plenty of those here in Orlando, and we have a huge Amazon fulfillment center here. So literally a lot of stuff you can order and get the same day, a couple hours later. I've ordered things on Amazon and literally have gotten it to my door in 3 to 4 hours after I placed that order. So yeah, if you really forgot something, order it to an Amazon locker. There's plenty at 7-Elevens, CVS's, Walgreens, even at gyms here. If you forgot some earplugs and you want some better ones, they're like 10 to 12 bucks, those little silicone ones with filters in them. You can last minute order these things to Amazon lockers near you. That really concludes this Forbidden Kingdom guide, if you will. I'm just trying to like really think of a bunch of tips and ideas that might benefit you guys while you're at the event. Things you might have forgotten, things you might have not known, just gentle reminders. We're quickly creeping back into festival territory, is picking up faster and faster by the day. Yes, I know a lot of you guys have been asking about me doing a meetup or anything. I don't think I'm gonna be doing an official meetup, but I'm gonna try and hit up the Festival Finesser meetup and Frisky Hug and Radiates meetup at their respective times. I'm gonna try and slide for a few minutes, so you might find me at those, but if not, follow me on social media. I'm gonna be posting which sets I'm gonna be trying to hit. So that way you don't have to go out of your way. If you're already at that set, you're gonna at least know I'm in the area. Look for a kid with his freaking arm in the air recording, all right? But yes, don't be afraid to say hi. I will definitely be there. I'm gonna be running around a bunch. Some quick ones you know I'm gonna be at is Versa, Murata, Void. You know I'm gonna be at those 100%, not missing those. So yes, I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend at Forbidden Kingdom. I hope to see you there. Thank you guys for the continuous support. We're here, this is the final stretch. This is gonna be one of my biggest events of the year. Please be safe, take care of each other. I hope this helped you out. If it did, drop a like, let me know, drop a comment. There's plenty of other tips. If you have any, share some down below. Share them with the community, really appreciate it. And also a big shout out to the team at Forbidden Kingdom and Insomniac for pulling together this huge event, and it's actually happening. Again, love you guys, see you guys later.
I challenge you.